Hello, welcome to Sounding Fairy Book Reviews. As usual, I am Tina. Today I am doing a surprise review. On Wednesday, I received a notification that I was approved on NetGalley for a book I had lost all hopes for. It's What Feasts at Night by T. Kingfisher. It's from Tor Nightfire. It's a horror book that's coming out today, February 13th, 2023. It is the follow up to the book here, What Moves the Dead, also by obviously T. Kingfisher. I absolutely adored this book, which is why I have it in paperback, because I also got this book on NetGalley when it first came out. So I was very excited to get What Feasts at Night. Yeah. I even pushed aside the book I was reading at the moment and readjusted my schedule to fit this baby in. So, was it worth it? Of course it was. The novella has Kingfisher's engaging prose and is a slow and atmospheric book that focuses this time on themes of PTSD as well as a ghost. So, what is it about? Retired soldier Alex Easton returns in a horrifying new adventure. After their terrifying ordeal at the Usher Manor, Alec Easton feels as if they had just survived another war. All they crave is rest, routine, and sunshine, but instead, as a favor to Angus and Miss Potter, they find themselves heading to their family hunting lodge deep in the cold, damp forests of their home country, Galatia. In theory, one can find relaxation in even the coldest and dampest of Galatian autumns, but when Easton arrives, they find the caretaker dead, the lodge in disarray, and the grounds troubled by a strange, uncanny silence. The villagers whisper that a breath-stealing monster from folklore has taken up residence in Easton's home. Easton knows better than to put too much stock in local superstitions, but they can tell that something is not quite right in their home, or in their dreams. Ooh. Equal parts ghost story, historical fiction, fantasy, and mystery, What Feasts at Night is such a great novella. The first book focused a little on Easton's past as a soldier, but this one really brought out the concept of soldier's heart, which we now know as PTSD. Yet it's woven into the story in a way that feels natural to what's going on and ties well with the ghost's powers, if indeed it is a ghost. Of course, this is part of the mystery, as with all ghost stories, so I'm not going to spoil any of that for you. The characters are fabulous. Easton is a down-to-earth, seemingly unintentionally hilarious narrator and is immensely likable. The side characters are great, especially in this one, the cantankerous housekeeper. She was so funny. The book is also so relatable. At one point, the characters talk about ghost stories and the power of suggestion, which I think we've all done at one point. You know, we've all sat around a campfire and told a couple ghost stories to each other and then kind of thought we saw a ghost later. I mean, maybe. I mean, this has happened to me before. Oh my god. So, a real example of this happening. So, my friends and I, before we had children, went on a trip to Ireland. It was amazing. I loved it. I saw so many cool things. Anyway, so we did Airbnbs the whole time. And we rented this house in the countryside somewhere, and the place was old and creaky and full of weird pictures of the people that I guess own it. And we spent the night, of course, telling ghost stories around the kitchen table. And then we went to our separate bedrooms, and because of the power of suggestion, my husband experienced sleep paralysis. He's had this happen a few times, but this time I was woken in the middle of the night to him screaming his head off. So, of course, because he was screaming, I started screaming. We were all screaming. I'm pretty sure when we talked to our friends the next morning, they were like, "We heard you guys screaming. We figured you would figure it out, or that it was, a ghost, and we didn't want any part of that." I was like, "Thanks a lot. What if we've been being murdered?" And they were like, "Well, we figured we'd be next." I was like, "Oh my god." Anyway, so when I finally woke up, my husband managed to get him awake. He said that he'd seen a woman shrouded in white standing on the foot of our bed, standing on his feet. Creepy, creepy, creepy. But yeah, that's pretty much what sleep paralysis is. You feel like someone is standing there holding you down. And yeah, he gets this. He hasn't had any actually since, I don't think. But he's had it 3 or 4 times. And I'm always on the receiving end of the screaming. And I'm just like, ah! Anyway, back to the book. I really, really enjoyed the setting. Easton's home country is a fictional European nation that feels like it should be real. The small details and world building gave it a depth that made me feel like I wanted to actually go and visit it. Likewise, the setting is also this hunting lodge in the woods, the perfect place for a haunting. You could picture kind of what it looked like. It was great. So the novella is short, but it doesn't feel too short. The action takes a while to build. It doesn't really feel like a horror story until about a good 3/4 of the way through. But when it does, it feels more realistic than a haunting where people stay in the house for 2 weeks while being tormented. No, this happens really quickly, and it really works. Overall, I absolutely loved this novella as I expected. I hope we get more of these Alex Easton novellas from Kingfisher because they're just so cool, and I would love to have a little collection of them on my shelf. But yeah, so if you have read anything by T. Kingfisher before and you really liked it, I highly recommend this one. You can, I guess, read it as a standalone, but I highly recommend checking out What Moves the Dead first because the characters are from this. There are things that they reference in passing from that book as well. Yeah, and it's awesome. So that one's based on The Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, which I love. And that's what drew me to that book originally. I don't think this one was based on anything in particular, like a particular myth, but the ghost creature thing is very, very interesting and memorable. And yeah, so yeah, highly recommend it. And thanks.